The message arrived at 2:17 in the morning. Daniel was awake when his phone lit up. He had been staring at the ceiling of his small apartment, listening to the hum of the refrigerator and the distant sound of traffic outside his window. Sleep had become something that happened to other people. For him, nights were long corridors filled with echoes. He almost ignored the notification. Most messages at that hour were either wrong numbers or reminders of a life he no longer had. But something made him reach for the phone. Unknown number. He hesitated, thumb hovering over the screen, then opened it. "I don't know if this is still your number, but if it is, I need to tell you the truth. I'm sorry. No name." Just that. His chest tightened as if someone had reached inside and squeezed his heart. There was only one person who would send a message like that. Only one person who had left without the truth. Lena. It had been 8 years. 8 years since she walked out of the hospital room without looking back. 8 years since the argument that shattered everything they had built. 8 years since he had watched her disappear into the rain with eyes that refused to explain. He sat up slowly, his back pressing against the cold wall. His breathing turned shallow. He typed 3 words. "What truth, Lena?" The reply came almost instantly. "Can we meet tomorrow? The old train station. 6 p.m. please." The old train station, a place frozen in time. The same platform where he had once held her hand and promised her forever. The same place where she had whispered she was afraid of losing him. Daniel closed his eyes. The memories came in waves. Her laughter, the way she would tilt her head when she was confused, the scent of her shampoo on his pillow. He hadn't allowed himself to think about her in years. He had trained his heart like a soldier trains for war. No weakness, no revisiting the battlefield. And yet here he was. "Okay," he wrote. He didn't sleep at all after that. The next day felt unreal, like walking through fog. He moved mechanically, showered, shaved, changed his shirt twice. He told himself he didn't care how he looked, that this was just closure. But his trembling hands betrayed him. At 5:45 p.m., he stood at the edge of the abandoned train platform. The sky was painted in shades of orange and gray. The metal benches were rusted. The wind carried the faint smell of oil and dust. He saw her before she saw him. She looked smaller somehow, thinner. Her hair was shorter, tucked behind her ears. She wore a simple coat, and her hands were clenched tightly in front of her. For a moment he considered leaving, but she turned. Their eyes met. The world stilled. She inhaled sharply, as if she had been holding her breath for years. "Hi," she whispered. Her voice was the same, soft, fragile, familiar. "Hi," he replied, surprised at how steady he sounded. They stood there, 2 strangers wearing the faces of old lovers. "You look good," she said, attempting a smile. "You don't," he answered before he could stop himself. Her smile faded, but she nodded. "I guess I deserve that." Silence stretched between them, heavy and uncomfortable. "You said you needed to tell me the truth," he said finally. "About what?" She looked down at her hands. They were shaking. "About why I left." Anger flickered inside him, sudden and sharp. "You left because we fought," he said. "Because I wanted to take the job in Chicago and you didn't. Because we were young and stupid." She looked up and there were tears in her eyes. "No," she said. "That wasn't it." He frowned. "Then what was it?" She swallowed hard. "The day before that argument, I got a call from my doctor." His heart skipped. "What kind of call?" She hesitated. The wind lifted strands of her hair across her face. "I was sick, Daniel." The word hung in the air. "Sick how?" "Cancer." The platform seemed to tilt beneath him. "You're lying," he said automatically. "You would have told me." "I wanted to," she whispered. "I tried. But when the doctor said it was aggressive, when he said the treatment would be brutal and there were no guarantees, I panicked." He stared at her, unable to process. "You left me because you were sick?" His voice rose. "That makes no sense." "It does," she said, tears spilling over now. "I didn't want you to watch me fall apart. I didn't want you to feel trapped. You had that job offer. You had your whole life ahead of you. I thought if I made you angry enough, you'd let me go." He felt something inside him crack. "You thought breaking me was kindness?" "I thought loving you meant protecting you," she said. He turned away, running a hand through his hair. The world felt too loud, too bright. "How long?" he asked quietly. "I started treatment 2 weeks after I left. And I survived." He turned back sharply. "You survived?" She nodded. "I lost my hair. I lost weight. I lost everything I recognized in the mirror. But I survived." A strange mixture of relief and rage flooded him. "You survived," he repeated. "And you didn't think to tell me? Not once in 8 years? I wrote to you 100 times, she said. I never sent them. I saw pictures of you online. You looked happy." He laughed bitterly. "Happy? I was barely functioning." She flinched. "I thought you'd moved on." "I didn't move on," he said. I froze. The confession surprised even him. He had dated. He had smiled. He had lived. But a part of him had remained on this platform, waiting for answers that never came. She stepped closer. "I'm in remission," she said softly. 5 years now. "The doctors say the chances are low." He searched her face, looking for signs of the girl he once knew. "Why now?" he asked. "Why contact me after all this time?" She took a deep breath. "Because yesterday I found out it might be back." The words hit him like a physical blow. "No," he whispered. "They're not sure yet. More tests?" "But when I heard, the first thing I felt wasn't fear, it was regret." Tears streamed down her face freely now. "I spent years convincing myself I did the right thing, that I saved you from pain. But all I did was rob us of the chance to choose together." His throat burned. "You don't get to decide my pain," he said. "I know." They stood in silence, the weight of years pressing down on them. "I never stopped loving you," she said finally. "I just thought loving you meant disappearing." Daniel looked at her, really looked at her, the exhaustion in her eyes, the courage it must have taken to come here. He remembered the night they met, how she had laughed at his terrible joke, how she had believed in him when he doubted himself. He remembered holding her hand in the hospital years ago when his father died. She hadn't run then. "I would have stayed," he said quietly. "I know that now." The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the tracks. "So what happens if it's back?" he asked. She shrugged slightly. "More treatment. More uncertainty." "And you came here to say goodbye?" "No," she said, surprising him. "I came to ask if you'd sit with me, not as a hero, not as someone I'm protecting. Just as you." His heart pounded painfully. "I'm scared," she admitted. "I don't want to face it alone again." The anger inside him dissolved, replaced by something raw and vulnerable. "You already made that choice once," he said. "Yes," she whispered. "And it was the worst mistake of my life." He looked at the empty tracks stretching into the distance. Life was strange. It twisted paths in ways no one expected. 8 years ago, he would have given anything to hear this truth. Now it stood before him, fragile and trembling. He stepped closer. "You don't get to disappear this time," he said. She shook her head quickly. "I won't." "You don't get to make decisions for me." "I won't." "You don't get to push me away because you're afraid." She let out a broken laugh through her tears. "I'm still afraid." "Good," he said softly. "So am I." He reached out slowly, giving her time to pull back. She didn't. When his arms wrapped around her, it felt like something inside him finally exhaled after years of holding its breath. She buried her face in his chest and sobbed. He held her tighter. Whatever came next would not be easy. There would be hospital rooms and waiting calls and nights filled with fear. But this time it would be shared. After a long while, she pulled back, wiping her eyes. "You're sure?" she asked. "About doing this again?" He looked at her, at the woman who had tried to love him the wrong way, and was brave enough to admit it. "Love isn't about protecting someone from pain," he said. "It's about standing in it together." The first stars began to appear in the darkening sky. Somewhere in the distance a train horn echoed, low and haunting. Life was moving again. He took her hand. "Whatever the tests say," he continued, "we'll face it. And if it's not back, we won't waste another 8 years. She squeezed his hand, her grip stronger than he remembered. For the first time since 2:17 in the morning, his heart felt steady. The future was uncertain, but it was theirs.